Hello, PAL fans, and welcome to your source of drama, hope, and information. Things have been pretty good on my end. I went to watch the new Simulacra movie last weekend with some friends. Pretty great movie, and it replicates some of the best moments of Blade Runner. For those of you that don't know, I am something of a cinephile. I appreciate all kinds of movies, so if you have any recommendations, feel free to shoot them my way. Anyway, the topic of this episode will be covering the recent recordings circulating, calling out the various organizations and groups supporting heroics. Various news outlets within the USA were randomly interrupted to display the message everyone is talking about. A masked figure with a robotic voice claiming allegiance with the Discord gang. We'll go into who they are shortly. For now, I am going to play the message. I know most of you are probably already aware of this, but in order to continue with this episode, I figured it would be important to give some context to those who might not be aware. Here it is.
Breath. The very thing you all take for granted. I am ashamed. Where's your fight? Your resolve? Your pride? People caught in the crossfire of battles, supers tearing down the walls of your homes, your schools. Pointless. Many. You won't fight? Don't bother. I'll do it for you. Brothers, sisters, family and Denny. Enjoy the Discord.
Now, not much is known about the figure in the recording. The weird robot gravel Daft Punk hybrid has no known past with any records whatsoever. This is clearly a new individual making their way into the villain scene. Weirdly enough, they directly call out a group within Denny, Washington that isn't really that well known outside of the local area. This has sparked many debates as to who the figure actually is, but we will get to that in a moment. For now, let's cover what we do know and go from there. The activities of the violent gang named Discord haven't been going on for very long. Starting in Denny 4 years ago, the group would cause public disturbances for the police and be a frequent thorn in the side of local heroes. Their numbers weren't significant, and they didn't really branch outside of the city much. However, that changed mysteriously roughly a year and a half ago. They started showing a bit more organization in how they conducted their crimes on a larger scale, and changed outright in the types of crimes they would commit. Instead of extortion and armed assault, they started getting involved in high-profile robberies and grand theft. This is where rumors of a masked individual, with descriptions given at the time that we now know matches the individual in the broadcast, who was aiding them for unknown reasons. There was credence to such theories, especially since the rank and file of Discord were largely still incompetent goons and nothing more. However, nothing official came out, and it was largely assumed that due to the decentralized nature of the group, that it wasn't a far-fetched. Some people argued that since it was a largely decentralized group, they were capable of attracting people with the necessary skills to do so and branch out in their crimes. This tracks with what we know about Discord's early days. While they all shared similar philosophies, they all went about it in different ways. Some members were careful in the types of crimes they committed, and believed that in order to get the chaos they wanted, they needed to control it. Other parts of the group acted more like a youth movement in a sense, and attracted young outcasts and pariahs who just wanted to be heard, and usually used violence as a means to be heard. However, the recent broadcast proves how wrong those assumptions were. The first significant event that we now know indicated some outside assistance was the murder of one of the main figureheads, Troy Fleck, of the Discord gang within a cell. While not much information has come out, some believe that he was giving information regarding some of the other prominent figureheads of the group. Everyone there was under suspicion, initially due to camera feeds cutting out at the time of the murder. However, An internal investigation had come up with the disturbing fact that it was an unknown party that conducted what was an apparent assassination. No one, of course, could theorize who would assist a group like Discord. They were widely known as rabble and nothing more. The only reason why it got any attention was local conspiracy theorists that subscribed to the Ars Sceleris theory that proposes there is a villainous group spanning the globe. One of the characteristics for this supposed group is that they provide aid to various upstart criminal organizations and gangs that they think show promise. When groups show promise, they get the necessary support to become a potential arm of said group. Even if this group did exist, the most likely thing is the alternative purported purpose of this group. It is theorized that this group, our Sceleris, are first and foremost researchers and seek to experiment with some of the seedier aspects of society, giving the means to terrorist cells, gangs, cartels, and even individual supervillains to see what happens is something some radical theorists believe. Of course, while these theories are far from definitive, it has persisted since the fall of Ferris Woodrow in New Haven back during the 1990s. When any upheaval is added to the underworld, you are pretty much guaranteed to hear them brought up at least once. I don't know, be sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thus concludes this episode of Blow for Blow. If you found learning about this group was pretty interesting, I'm sure you will hear more going forward. If you want to keep up to date on the most recent powered information, feel free to give a follow. Catch you later, pal fans.